Mama. So just thinking about her a little bit. So it's like I said it hurts a lot when you let somebody back into your life and it's only for a short time before. It's why each treasure every moment, You gotta treasure the moments. I unfortunately didn't get to spend very much time with her when she came back into my life, and I do regret a lot of things. I did tell you guys that I would talk about this again one day. I'm a little sad, but I'm not that sad. I can't let the things go and get me down like this. It's not what she would have wanted, and we just continue life normally. Well, I'm just exhausted more or less, just from a lot of things. That's the honest to God truth. I'm just exhausted, a little sad and exhausted. A lot of people are exhausted, to be honest. But I don't mind telling you guys.
Sending the love. Keep on keeping on, Zen, we love you really.
For those of you who don't know, I had a mom, excuse me. I remember the good times when we first, when it was still fresh before everything happened. She was a very sweet lady. She worked. She did normal things. And then I want to say when I was around 5 to 6 or 7. I think that's when she had diabetes. I believe it was type 2. So it started progressively getting worse. Papa Dragon tried his best to always, help her around. But it really started developing really badly. So essentially, her health got worse. She began losing. I think it was her eyesight first. Yeah, she started losing her eyesight in her right eye. I think this is I was around. I want to say 8 or 9. At that time she was just frustrated with life. She lost her job. She was going through a lot of depression, and her her blindness started developing, and it wasn't helping the situation for her. So naturally, since she was out of work, she was blind in one of her eyes almost. When you're stuck at home with an illness or something like that, you start becoming frustrated. And of course you need an outlet, right? And unfortunately I ended up becoming the outlet. And I want to say around 10 or 11 is when she started losing sight in her left eye. Her right eye was really bad at this point. And, again, the frustration starts getting worse. When I say outlet, I mean not so much physical but a lot more mental. There were moments of physical, but it was a lot more mental of like fuck you, like cursing me out and stuff like that, and that would lead to fights every single day of. I can't remember a day where we didn't fight, where we wouldn't be screaming at each other. There was always at least one moment during the day where it just happened. There's not much I could have done. It was even if I tried to walk away, there would still be yelling and screaming still. It was just non-stop, and it really pushed me. And into dark places later on into my life. But it will get there when we get there. Around when I want to say 13 or 14, but she ended up, I believe it was her right foot.
Hi Zen, Barker here,
Getting
made it
an
just
infection.
in time. Just wanted to give you your daily reminder from
Hello.
chat that you are absolutely breathtaking and that we love you. Thank you for being amazing, keep rocking on and stay strong.
Thank you. She got her foot infection. She had originally broken her leg a year prior or 2. And, I think later on it just developed. Like it was supposed to. We thought it healed and it didn't, and it ended up getting infected somehow. Of course she underwent surgery for it and she had been through multiple surgeries already. Especially with type 2 diabetes. And of course I'm still just trying to do my best in life.
I went through the same thing with my mother after she divorced my father. She displaced all of her hate for my dad onto me, her only son. And I didn't know how to handle it. Love you so much, Zen. We all love you so much, you wonderful person.
So we're going to jump forward to 16 or 17. I believe it's actually when I was 18. I don't remember too much. I have shit memory. That foot infection ended up developing worse. And she ended up starting to have kidney failure. So she started undergoing dialysis. I want to say definitely. When I was 18, I remember that. Or 17, one of those two. No, it was 16. I'm sorry. Or was it 15? I remember I had to get a driver's permit when I was 15, so I think it might have even been when I was 15 so I could start driving her. No, when I was 15 this was when she was having issues with her leg, so then the dialysis came around 16 or 17. But either way, she ended up having to undergo dialysis and, when I was 18. She ended up losing her right leg. She lost her right leg. And she was undergoing dialysis 3 times a week. Now this is when things get worse as far as her frustrations go. It definitely got so much worse when I was 16 or 17. We're to the point where really ugly words were thrown around. And a little bit more of the physical abuse. But I don't want to go far into that. It was definitely a very dark time in that moment for me, or I'm just happy that I was. I made it out. Let's just say I made it out alive, and leave it at that. So around 18 or 19? I'm mentally drained, I'm done. I can't do it anymore, so I ended up, finally, just getting out there my own place and everything. And I leave it all behind.
Speeded 55 subbed to tier 1. Let's go.
I left her behind. I left Papa Dragon behind. And I rarely spoke to them for about, I want to say 3 years. Or 2 years, excuse me. So like one day. I get the call and they want to talk. We talk. She really changed a lot. She. I could tell that she was trying her best with her frustrations and anger. There are some slips, but they were very rare. Prior to me leaving there was one point where she did have an infection again near her heart.
Subbed to tier 1. Let's go.
She had undergone I think a heart bypass or something like that. At this point she had undergone I don't know how many surgeries at this point. Her body was so scarred up, like you would think like she was a zombie or Frankenstein or something at some point, from all the stitches, the bruising.
Zen, this is such a heartful and touching snippet into your life, and we can feel the emotions behind the TTS. Just know we love and respect you even more now. I know you'll probably bite, but please accept this hug from chat and know that we will always be here for.
So I'm jumping forward to, when I'm 22. She was at a point where she was trying her very best, and it was about 1.5 years, almost 2 years. Since she really tried to change herself, that same year, recall the infection near the heart. It finally reached her heart. This is when I was 22, the heart infection, that was when it was near her heart was, I believe it was when I was 19, 20. But jump forward to when I'm 22. That the infection got to our heart. This was during the middle of the year. I got a call from Papa Dragon. And he was. He's a very stoic person. He's an old-timer. He's very stoic. He's kind of like a stone or wall or something you could say, to himself. But I feel like that night it really was difference. Because he always took care of her. And he was definitely different person that night. He was screaming a lot into the phone. I tried to calm him down, but we got. I went to the hospital. We were definitely hoping for the best, and it. It felt like things went fine for a moment. Doctors were able to save her. We thought that everything was fine. She got back on her feet. She was perfectly fine after a couple of weeks. Like you would never think like the way she looked before that should happen. Like that shit happened. It didn't feel like it happened. And then, November came around. I don't know. We just thought that, they had gotten the infection. I got a call from Papa Dragon again, and this time he was just He couldn't even talk.
Together, Zenter 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 together.
He couldn't talk. He was stuttering and he just sounded very, very scared. This is even more different than the last time.
Kaikotsu subbed at tier 1. Let's go. Zenter together.
Yeah, this was a lot more different than the last time. This time there wasn't screaming or anything like that. This was just like he knew. He knew and he just. I'm sorry, I'll get you in a minute here. He was just gone. Like mental, he was gone. Like he had felt like he wasn't there when I made it to the hospital. He just looked like lifeless and his eyes were just. So I had asked what happened and then they said that the infection got your heart again. It came back somehow. Genuinely thought they had gotten it. They said they did. They fucking said they did. But I'm not mad. That's life. We can't predict things. By the time the paramedics had gotten her, and she had made to the hospital, she was pronounced brain dead, or not so much brain dead. But like a good portion of her brain was just, I guess that is the way to put it, I guess. I hate saying it like that. We had an important decision to make. Papa Dragon wasn't ready to let her go. I just remember it so clearly that day. He didn't know what to do. He just wasn't ready. But they needed a decision, and I told him, she's gone. We can't help her anymore. She's gone. So I tell them, it's time to let her go. So he didn't say anything. He just nodded. And then she left us. I got to know what a real mum felt like. For a very short time. It was nice. I got to know her for. I got to really know how it felt to have a real mom for a year it was. She tried her best. She really did. I just, wish we had started off like that a long time ago. Instead, I end up living with regret every day. There's a lot of things I could have done differently. To be honest, would have helped. I don't know either. In the end, she is the one that ended up doing the right thing. And that's what I mean when I say it's harder to lose somebody when you finally let them back into your life. It hurts a lot more knowing what could have been. Instead of fighting every single day of your lives. So I miss her. That's why I'm always so adamant about, just staying strong. Spreading some love. You never know what happens in the future. That's the story of Mama Dragon. And how she ended up becoming a very large beacon in my life for how to be strong no matter what life throws at you. Lost the leg, lost her eyesight, underwent countless surgeries. We're stuck in a wheelchair. And when we finally were making up, she was smiling so bright. Through all that shit. That's so much strength. Imagine being ripped apart, being opened and cut up, literally dying inside and still being with a smile and wanting to put your life back together. It's still pushing for a better life. And still, I'm very proud of her. Very, very proud to call her my mom. And I do miss her every day. So that is again the story of Mama Dragon, as I promised you. A sad story that may not have had a happy ending, but still gave something. So just a reminder that if you don't think you're strong, you're counting yourself out. You're stronger than you know.